finally, I am talking again in front of this camera, and it's always been awkward for me to talk in front of the camera because I felt like people would see my flaws, my imperfections in everything. But this is me today, taking action and taking a step of faith for what God wants me to do. This is probably the most candid video I have ever made in my entire life. And this is really something serious because I am going to share the most valuable thing, the most important information that I have known in my entire life. And so before I do that, I just want to give you a backstory. So last month was my birth month. It was September, right? And so my husband and I and some friends went to Ohio to celebrate my birthday and, of course, enjoy and spend time together, build some memories. But before that, guys, I cleaned the car, and while I was doing that, I turned on the radio, and the speakers or the host were saying that we shouldn't be scared to share our testimony to other people, to the world. Even if we are not eloquent or we are not good at talking, we shouldn't be scared. And they mentioned a verse that goes like this: "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." During that time, guys, I was as if listening so intently. It was as if God was talking directly to me and telling me that, "Andy, you need to share your testimony and your life story." And it was such a struggle for me because the enemy has been constantly attacking me, discouraging me to do that, and telling me that I am incapable and that I am not good enough. And especially from where I come from, where people would, judge you for not being able to speak English, and that they would judge you for all the mispronunciations and the wrong grammars. And so today when I woke up, I said to myself, "Okay, Andy, you can do it." And I said to the Lord, well, I usually do my morning routine and then, pray and worship God. And I said to God, "Okay, God, I surrender everything to you. Like all my worries, like everything that I have is all yours. Here I am, use me." Like God somehow, gave me the peace that I need. The enemy doesn't really want me to share because I know that there will be lives that will be changed. There will be people who will be watching this and, they will come to know the Lord because of my life. So I said, "God, whatever you want, you can use me. You put words in my mouth. I am not good. I'm not eloquent. I am not fluent. English is not my language. But you're going to use my word, my mouth, and put words into it. And so that your message can reach out to many people." I just said that to God. I said, I am just nothing. And so God said, I'm going to use you wherever you are. And so here I am talking in front of you. I don't care what others would say. I don't care what my family members would say, or my friends would say, or, what my future will be, like the people in the future would say to me. But I just really want God to take full control. And so, guys, it's time for me to share my story. Whew. I don't even know where to start. But I know God said He's going to put words in my mouth. I don't want to look back, but, it's going to be tough because some people didn't really know me. But now I am letting them in to my personal life. I should have gotten some tissue, but that's okay. So for those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. And I hope you'll stay because today you will receive the most important information that I can ever give to you. This is my gift to you. Someone gave this gift to me and I want to pass it on to you. I may not know you, but I want you to know that this gift will be your most valuable asset. So by the way, I'm Andy. I'm from the Philippines. If you don't know the Philippines, I can give you a quick background of where is it. So the Philippines is in the Southeast Asia. So it is made up of 3 large islands, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And so I am from Mindanao. I was born and raised there. And so I speak Bisaya most of my life. And, that is probably my favorite language because it's easier to speak. But I can also speak English just like this. And Tagalog, of course, but Bisaya is the easiest of all. And so, but for this video, I'm gonna use English. Whew. God is good. Praise God. So guys, I'm gonna bring you to my childhood. I want you to see the glimpse, or I want you to see a glimpse of what my childhood looks like. So, I was born in a large family. So I have 10 siblings, 4 brothers, and 6 sisters. So that's 10 plus me, that makes 11, plus my parents, that is total of 13 people in the family. So you can imagine how chaotic that was, right? Growing up with 10 siblings was very fun and very memorable. We had so much fun. We had a 6-hectare farm, and it was really a huge piece of land. And I remember we can go around, run around, and I remember the specific moment wherein my sister and I at the young, we climbed the, what's that? The lomboy. It's like a black cherry. And we fell. The branches broke, and actually we fell to the ground, and my mom was so angry, and she hit us, and she was really angry to us, and she I forgot exactly what happened after that, but we were hurt already, but my mom added more. Like she, I think she used belt to spank us, and that was really painful. So there were so much memories in my childhood years that was really fun. And whenever I think about those memories, you know, they make me smile because they are part of the reason why I am here. I will never be here without them. So, we live in a very secluded part of that city. Like, our neighbors are actually very far from us, like maybe 2 kilometers away from us. And so most of my siblings, especially the ladies or my sisters, have become my friends. Then we played together, we spent time together, and we slept together. And so many things. So many fun memories, to be honest. But also, with all the fun memories also lies the dark side and the painful part of my past. My parents were always fighting. They were always like, one person is holding a knife and the other person is holding a machete. And that was not fun. I remember those times when we had to hold either my mother or my father so that no one will be dead. Like, you know, that feeling that the emotion was so strong that they wanted to kill each other. So my father was a drunkard, a chain smoker, and he was into his friends a lot. And so for me, he was not a responsible father. I was really angry to my father. By the way, my father just died this year. That is why I don't want to talk about this thing, because there's a lot of things going on in my heart. When I was a child, my father would hurt my mom. And finally, my mom stood up and she took the courage to fought back. So my father would mostly come home drunk, and then there was a time wherein he came home, he brought some fish, and he was calling all of us, but he was so drunk. And so we didn't want to come out. So what he did was to shout, and because no one came out, he actually threw the fish to the ground, and so the dogs ate all of them. But during that time, we didn't have food to eat. And so we were so hungry. Most of the time, we didn't have food on the table. We didn't have access to electricity. We didn't have water. We didn't have everything. I would go to school, had nothing inside my lunchbox. It was so difficult moment of my life. And the time came when my father went to Luzon. I couldn't really remember how many months or years he stayed there, but he left the whole family. And my mom took a stand like she was a superwoman. She was a superwoman. Like, imagine having 11 kids with you. So my mom, she was really tough. I don't know. Looking back at the past was so hard. She was the toughest woman I know. And she trained us to become tough people. Like, she trained us to really study hard. Like, we had to really study early on because we had to use the, what's that, palong-palong? Palong-palong in Bisaya, but in English it's like, what's that, guys? A torch that is powered by a gas. And so my mom would say, oh, you need to study early because if the gas runs out, then there's no way for you to study any longer. And so we had to really study. We had like 2 torches, and like for one torch, it will be like me, my sister, I think maybe three of my sisters would join me. And so it was so important for us. And so in the morning, early in the morning, when I clean my nose, it's gonna be like all dark. Can you imagine that? Because of the smoke that came into my nose. And so after that, she would then wake us up early in the morning, like around 4 o'clock in the morning, and then bring us to the river. So the river is actually like, we live in a very secluded area, as I've said. Very remote area we're in. There's like, I don't know, if you're from the Philippines and you live in Cagayan de Oro City, you know where Balulang is? There's a hill. This is Balulang, but then if you see on the right side, you can see a hill. It's really like, can I say a hill or a mountain? Maybe a mountain, guys. So, but then our house is on top of the hill. And so what we do early in the morning is we have to like go down the hill and then go to the river, because near Balulang there's a river, right? And so we go there to take a bath. And so after taking a bath, like around 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30, we start walking, going to school. And so that's always like our routine. And sometimes we would, what's the English for manghitch, like mangpara bitaw og jeep, or mangpara og jeep, mangpara og sakinan. Or we would, I don't know what's that, maybe hitchhike and ask people for a ride. So, oh, thank God for His protection, because like it was so scary. We might be kidnapped or we might be raped, but God has protected us. And so that was our life. And so imagine we couldn't afford to buy books that, you know, whenever our neighbors would have something like books, my parents would collect those books and give to us. And so I remember memorizing probably the atlas or the world. Like, we were so poor, but we learned through the resources that we can get from other people. And so we didn't have the opportunity as well to play nice toys, like my parents couldn't afford those things. So we had to create our own toys. We had to build our own dolls from, from papers or from cardboards. And I remember my sister and we like to play in the garbage area because we can get those, from those empty sachets of Milo, Nescafe, or any other chips, and then we play bahay-bahay, or I don't know what you call that one, but it's very common during our time. And so I will become the seller, and my sister would be like, okay, she's gonna buy something to this little store, but it's all garbage made. I don't know how to explain it, guys, but that's how we played when I was a child. And then after that, we also played rubber-made items, like, I can't remember the names of the games we've played. So everything that we had was, mostly from ukay-ukay, or from a flea market, or from the garbage. We didn't have the opportunity that my nephews and nieces have right now. They are so special. They are bombarded with all the material things because we didn't experience that growing up. And so it was hard. Like, me looking back and reliving those past moments was not easy. It was just not easy, yeah. So, as I've said, my father left us. He went to Luzon and stayed there for a while. And while my mom stood up, I remember selling vegetables to our neighbors. It was really cheap, like 1 peso, something like that. And I would shout, it's Bisaya, so I said, tangkong, tangkong. I would say like that. I had kangkong and mongos. What else? I had so many vegetables because, as I've said, our parents, or especially my mom, taught us to plant, vegetables and fruits, and it was so plentiful. Like, we had so many vegetation, and like, I remember harvesting them and then selling them to our neighbors. We were so poor that sometimes we couldn't eat 3 times in a day. And there were times wherein my mom would go to our neighbors and borrow money so that we can buy a kilo of rice, and then we would cook it, what's that? Lugaw bitaw. Lugaw. What's that in English? Like a soup, a rice soup. Maybe sopas, but without all those meat and other spices. So it was not really easy, and there was a time wherein we literally begged for food from our neighbors. Whew. That was not easy. And so my mom would always encourage us to study hard because she believes that education is the key to, escape from poverty. And somehow it is real. And so even if we were so poor, but my siblings are so smart and intelligent. And so we got the scholarships, and they were first honors valedictorian, and my mom would always go up on stage, and I felt really proud that she's able to do that. I'm actually very emotional now because my mom, she's really sick. And if I remember her, I really, like, whenever I remember her, I just really wanted to give the best for her because she deserves it. And I hope I can still see when I go back to the Philippines. Whew. And so I told you we live in like a mountain or a cliff. And so guys, I was so discouraged. I was so discouraged about life. So I went to this cliff and I was like, talking to God, and I said, God, if you are real, why are we so poor? Why is it life is so unfair for us? Why does my classmates have food on the table and we don't? I was literally asking God questions. I was about to jump off the cliff. I was about to take my life. But you know, the thought of death scared me. Suddenly, the thought of life after death. I mean, is there life after death? There was so much uncertainty. There was so much in there that is like hidden. And I was thinking, what if it is real? That there's heaven and hell, and where will I go if I do this? And so that actually caused me to not do it. And so I am very grateful that God saved me. But I didn't receive any response from God. So life continued. I realized that it is so hard to share a story. This next part would probably be hurtful to some people, but this is the real story that I have, and this is based on my experience. I was born and raised Catholic, Roman Catholic, my whole family. And so I would say that in Asia, I think the only country that considers themselves Christians is the Philippines. Well, that was because we were colonized by the Spaniards, and they brought the religion to us. And so that was very special to me. I would go to church every Sunday. Like, we would walk to church, literally. I remember my sister Ate Yang, Nina, and me, we will be walking to a very distant place or a distant church just to be able to join the catechism and Sunday service. And it felt really like I was able to, learn a lot of the Catholic practices growing up. That was a big part of my life. I joined a lot of activities. Like, I remember joining the what's that? The festival, the fiesta, and we would dance. My mom would really participate because we will receive prize incentives, and that whoever joined the activity, we will be given that amount of money. So that can actually help the family. So we joined, and we had our faces painted. So it was really fun. Like every fiesta, and in the Philippines there are so many fiestas. So yeah, that's it. And so what else? I even joined the simbang gabi and everything. I remember we had to wake up early, like maybe like 4 o'clock in the morning, just to be able to go to church. And I really felt that I was a very religious person growing up, but there was no connection with the real God. I felt in my heart that God for me was like a fictional character. He does not really exist. And that I am just doing it for the sake of, obeying my parents. And that's what my parents said. Kung unsay namatan, mao'y pakamatian. Whatever we have grown up with, then we have to die with it. That is, basically not only in the Philippines. I think it's something that is very common in Asia. Whew. And so, after living there for like, I think we live in that part of the place I think we stayed in that place for like more than 30 years. And then we eventually moved to another place. And that place is where we currently live. That is Xavier Heights, for those people who know me. So we moved there. And then I was probably in my second year high school. Yeah, when we moved there. And I'm low bat. I don't know. I think it will be turned off. But I will keep on talking, guys. Oh, I have my charger. I'm gonna charge it. Hold on, guys.